Hello, I'm Lisa, and welcome to another episode of Start Me Up Business Walkthrough, where I walk you through the steps that I'm taking to start a business. So this week is week number 6, step number 6, and I'm talking this time about niche markets. Now, before I get started on that, I'll just like to say a quick thank you to the people that commented after last week's episode, which was being a minimalist and organising your home and office environment area by literally minimising, and which means getting rid of your stuff that you don't need, creating a permanent solution, and clearing a space out for your new venture. And it was good to see those comments, and great to hear that some of you are actually taking positive action to get started. So that's great. Always good to prepare first. Now this week, so niche markets, what actually is a niche market? Well, quite literally, I borrowed this quote from Sam Ovens, and they've let me reference their content as long as I post a link, which I'll do that in the description. Sam Ovens, of course, if you are familiar with his advertising, he does consultancy work. But I really like this, simply how he put what is a niche. It means a group of people you solve a problem for. So the whole idea of creating the business, of course, or any business, is to solve somebody else's problem. And that's what I love about business, because you can share your knowledge and help somebody else, letting them create value in their lives. And so you can gain the experience and help them out if they don't have time to do so. So as you know, I'm building a web development business. And the first, really the tricky thing for me was, okay, if I'm going to create a niche, I have to think about who are my customers, who am I going to serve with, my website development, what sort of customers are going to want that, what problem do those customers have. So this, the niche series really is, I'll do over a few weeks because it's not something you can do in a 5-minute webinar presentation. So, and I'd like to try out and report back some of what I've done. So this week I'll just talk to you a little bit about what I understand to be a niche market and how I'll apply that. And then later I'll talk about how I have applied it. So now I've left the links to these websites where I just thought some information was really useful in terms of that. So once, and it's about finding a problem that customers have, and then you literally build your business around that problem to solve the problem. Now, again, to quote Sam Ovens, who gave a really good example where he had a customer call in to say that they had already had established their business and they weren't able to find, they didn't know how to find customers. And that and his answer was really alerted me to the fact that a lot of people in business do that. They sort of get their business going and then they don't know how to get their customers because they haven't done that beginning work. They haven't known really what problem they're solving or what their audience is, who are they targeting. So that apparently, you do, if you do that work first, you've already got your customers lined up basically because you've done the work in the beginning. So that's the point of doing the niche. So I'd like to find out who are the people, what is my problem that I'm solving, and who are the people that need my problem solved. So now from the couple of websites below, a bit tricky to pronounce their names, but there was some points about niche which I quite liked. And it's basically, first of all, to brainstorm your audience. Who are the audience that you're going to be targeting? You could use yourself as an example. What age group, are they gender specific, what industry do they work in? Start first, which I'll start work first, is to work with the audiences that you particularly like. If you want to start a business, there's a lot of people will say, well, start a business and something that everybody is, that you can make money out of, which is certainly a good thing to do, but there's not much point if you're if that means targeting a business industry that you don't even like. So for me, I have to work in something that I enjoy doing. Otherwise, I'm probably not going to stick to it. So audience, the people, I love small business, so anything to do with small business, and I really enjoy creating websites. I create my own, and so I thought, well, that's a good place to start. And the other ideas were look at once you've decided what groups, what customer base you like or what audience, is to have a look at their problems. What problems do they have, what do they need help with, and working on it that way, and what are the trends, and working out to what are the most profitable problems. So so what I'll be doing is really the first thing then, in knowing that, to find a group of people that I want to solve my problem for, is to define my problem, the problem, but I can't do that without an audience, and I need to research that. So that's what I'll be talking to a wee bit later on, is how am I researching it? What groups did I visit? How did I do it? Did I use social media? Did I talk to people? And how did I do that? So over the weeks I'll talk a little bit more about that. But just to get started, and what I've put in here is one of the ways to get information was to use the Google keyword system. And that's where you go into to Google and you type in some keywords or key ideas and have a look at on how people are searching, the number of people that search on the specific keywords that relate to your industry. So here we go. Hopefully you can read this okay, but this is an example from the page of Google, of the Google keywords that, and an example of how you search on them. And I'm not sure if you can see this very clearly, but it shows the keyword. Now I've searched this in New Zealand, and the keyword that I've used is small business website. And it basically shows me, you can see here, I'll give a bigger example in a minute, but I've used the term small business website and I've searched for New Zealand, how many people look at that in New Zealand, and it tells me that the average monthly searches on that keyword is between 10 and 100. And you can see there's different keywords that are related to small business website. So, and also the other point of interest there is the competition, and high competition, which means there's a lot of people in the industry. So that might reflect on how I'm going to target my market and how I'm going to produce my product or service. So, and that was even, just to get started, because also if I'm creating websites, I want to know also how, what keywords is good skill, to learn what keywords my customers will expect their clients to be using to find them. So that's what I'll get started with. And there we go. And here's a larger example, if you couldn't see that too clearly. I've just zoomed in on this basically, and so you can see the numbers there and the keywords that have come up under the Google Ads for the keyword plan that you can create. So that's it on the niche for this week. If you have any questions, let me know. And as I said, later on I'll talk to you about what groups, or how I looked at how I worked out what my niche exactly was going to be, and how I've targeted my audience. So for now, that's it. And next week I'll speak to you about scheduling, because one of the things that I noticed when I was starting to research the niches, I realized, wow, you've really got to put a lot of time, into doing the work, just getting the business, started and getting something into the market. There's a lot of work to do beforehand. So how am I going to fit that into my life? And thankfully, with the minimalist strategy I used last time, I've created some space and got my business, well, my life really, my systems, my personal systems a bit more organised to free me up some time. So I'll get started with this. And that's it. If you have any questions, and for all you mothers out there, have a happy Mother's Day. See ya.